My beloved child, something shifted while you were asleep. Not in your room, but in the unseen. The veil moved. A truth tried to reach you last night, and even though you woke up this morning feeling the same, nothing is the same anymore. The 7 archangels are speaking together right now, and this rarely happens. When they unite their voice, it is because a hidden matter has reached its final hour. What you are about to hear is not coincidence, not algorithm, not chance. It found you because you were meant to know what others still cannot see. Listen carefully. Last night, while the world was distracted, something was revealed about your life that has been kept from you intentionally. Not to harm you, but to delay you. And the most shocking part, the delay ends now. Heaven watched as you questioned yourself, doubted your intuition, and even blamed your own heart. But the archangels say, the confusion was never yours. The truth has been circling you for a long time, and tonight, it steps into the light. Do not rush this message. There is a reason this video warns you it may vanish. Not because it will be deleted, but because once you receive this truth, you will no longer need reminders. Truth changes the observer. And after today, you will see things you can never unsee again. Archangel Michael steps forward first. His voice is steady, protective, and sharp like a sword that cuts through lies without mercy. He says there was a moment last night when a spiritual contract expired. Something that once had access to your energy, your emotions, even your decisions, lost its permission. You didn't feel it physically, but your spirit did. That is why you may feel unusually alert, restless, or emotionally aware today. This is important. What ended was not small. It was an influence that survived because you did not yet know the full truth. And now the truth has been authorized to reach you. Archangel Gabriel follows. His message is clear and unsettling in the best way. He says information was hidden from you through silence, half-truths, and delayed answers. You were meant to question why certain conversations never happened, why clarity always came late, why people around you spoke but never fully explained. This was not accidental. It was orchestration. Not evil, but misaligned. Gabriel says, you were protected from the truth until you were strong enough to carry it without breaking. That strength, you have it now. Archangel Raphael brings emotional healing into this moment. He knows you felt something was off. You sensed gaps in stories, sudden changes in behavior, unexplained distance, or even missed opportunities that never made sense. Raphael says the confusion caused pain because you assumed it was your fault. It wasn't. The truth was simply not allowed to surface before last night. And here is where it becomes deeply personal. The archangels say this truth involves your position in a family, a relationship, a workplace, or a spiritual calling. Someone benefited from you not knowing. Not to destroy you, but to remain comfortable. Yet comfort season is over. Archangel Uriel speaks with light. He reveals that signs were sent repeatedly. Numbers, dreams, sudden thoughts, moments of déjà vu. You brushed them off as imagination. But they were warnings and confirmations trying to prepare you. The truth you're about to understand will explain why those signs kept repeating, why you felt watched over and blocked at the same time. Now listen very closely. This is the shocking revelation the archangels want you to grasp first. The truth did not come earlier because you would have acted too soon. You would have confronted, cut ties, changed direction before the foundation beneath you was stable. Heaven delayed the reveal to protect your future reaction. Archangel Jophiel brings wisdom and beauty into the heaviness. She says, when the truth fully lands, it will not destroy you. It will free you. The anxiety you carried without explanation will finally have a name. And once something has a name, it loses power over you. Then Archangels Atkill speaks of mercy. He reminds you not to harden your heart when clarity comes. Not everyone who hid the truth meant harm. Some were afraid of change. Some were afraid of losing you. But mercy does not mean ignorance. You can forgive without returning to blindness. Finally, all 7 archangels speak as one. Their message is short, and it shakes the spirit. You are the last to know, but the first to rise. That sentence carries weight. It means others already adjusted to the truth while you were still living in its shadow. But when you rise with power, awareness, and authority. You will not stumble through this revelation. You will walk through it awake. Pay attention today. Words may slip out of someone's mouth. A message may arrive unexpectedly. A realization may hit you suddenly and connect every missing piece. When it happens, do not panic. Do not react immediately. Observe. The archangels are standing close, guiding your response, not just your understanding. This video reached you at the precise moment your spirit was ready. And what comes next will make everything you've endured finally make sense. My precious one, now that the veil has shifted, you may notice something unusual happening inside you. Thoughts are sharper. Emotions feel closer to the surface. Memories you buried long ago may quietly rise, not to disturb you, but to show you how much you have already survived. The archangels say this phase feels intense because awareness has accelerated. When truth approaches, the spirit becomes alert. This is not anxiety. This is readiness. What happened last night did not only end something, it activated something within you. A dormant awareness. A spiritual sensitivity that had been muted so you could endure without collapsing. Archangel Michael speaks again, calmly but firmly, saying that you are now standing at the edge of realization. From here on, your discernment will increase. You will sense when something is off without needing proof. You will feel when words do not match intentions. This is not suspicion. This is spiritual clarity returning to its rightful owner. The archangels want you to understand this deeply. The truth is not arriving all at once because your soul is still integrating strength. If everything were revealed instantly, it would overwhelm the nervous system of the heart. So heaven releases truth in layers. Each layer restores a piece of your confidence. Each realization heals a wound you didn't know had a name. You may begin to reflect on past moments differently. Situations that once confused you will suddenly make sense. You will see how certain doors closed not because you were unworthy, but because remaining there would have limited you. The archangels say you were redirected quietly while others believed you were simply waiting. In reality, you were being repositioned. Archangel Gabriel now emphasizes communication. He says conversations around you are about to change. People may speak more openly, or they may avoid certain topics altogether. Both are signs. Truth makes some uncomfortable because it removes control. Do not chase explanations. Allow clarity to reveal itself naturally. What is meant for you will not require betting or decoding. There is something else you must hear. Last night's shift also affected how others perceive you. Without realizing it, they may sense that you are no longer the same. Some will respect it. Some will feel uneasy. This is normal. When light increases, shadows either retreat or react. Stay centered. Your calm will be your authority. Archangel Raphael gently reminds you to take care of your inner world during this time. Vigwar. Rest when your body asks. Do not overload your mind with noise. Truth integrates best in stillness. Healing happens when you allow yourself to feel without judgment. If tears come, let them. They are not weakness, they are release. You might wonder why you specifically were chosen to receive this awareness now. The Archangels answer plainly, because you are capable of holding truth without becoming bitter. Many people receive truth and use it to harden themselves. You will use it to refine yourself. That is why timing matters so much in the divine realm. This is also the moment where your participation matters. Messages like this move through alignment. If this is resonating with your spirit, acknowledge it. Interact with it. Let your presence be known. When you like this message, when you share it with someone who needs clarity, when you leave a comment that anchors your intention, you are not supporting a video. You are agreeing with a frequency. And when you subscribe and stay connected, you are choosing to remain aligned with messages meant to sharpen your discernment, not dull it. The Archangels say community matters right now. Isolation was necessary for preparation, but connection will be necessary for expansion. There are others walking through similar awakenings, and your voice may be the confirmation they have been praying for. Do not underestimate the power of a simple share or a spoken word of agreement. There is a subtle warning wrapped in love. Do not rush to confront anyone yet. Knowing the truth does not mean acting immediately. Wisdom waits for the right moment. Timing is as sacred as truth itself. Archangel Uriel says illumination without patience can create unnecessary conflict. You are being trained to move with precision, not impulse. As the day unfolds, pay attention to what repeatedly draws your attention. Afraid them every the person name. These are not random. They are threads being pulled together into a clear picture. By the time this phase completes, you will no longer question your intuition the way you once did. And before you drift away or get distracted, hold on. What is about to unfold next carries a detail that will connect every sign you have experienced so far. When that connection clicks, it will feel impossible to ignore. My dear one, there is a sacred reason your heart feels heavy yet clear at the same time. This is the weight of truth settling, not crushing. The Archangels are drawing your attention inward now, because what happened last night did not only change external circumstances, it altered your inner authority. You are no longer meant to seek validation for what you sense. Heaven has already validated you. Archangel Michael stands beside you again, not as a warrior this time, but as a guardian of boundaries. He says the truth you are receiving will require courage, not confrontation. Strength, not reaction. You may soon realize that certain people benefited from your silence, your patience, your willingness to doubt yourself. This realization may sting, but it will not wound you. The wound already healed the moment awareness arrived. There is something the Archangels want to correct gently. You were never naive. You were compassionate. You were never blind. You were merciful. The difference matters. Compassion without truth leads to exhaustion, but compassion guided by truth leads to peace. That balance is now being restored in you. Archangel Gabriel reveals that words spoken to you in the past carried double meanings. Compliments that limited you. Advice that subtly discouraged you. Promises that were always postponed. You accepted these things because you believe in harmony. Now you are learning discernment. Discernment does not destroy harmony. It defines it. You may feel an urge to withdraw for a moment, to observe more than you speak. This is wisdom activating. The Archangels say silence will serve you better than explanations right now. Let others reveal themselves through consistency, not conversation. Truth has a way of surfacing without interrogation. Archangel Raphael focuses on your emotional body. He says grief may appear unexpectedly, not because you lost something, but because you realize how much you carried alone. Let that grief move through you. It is not meant to stay. On the other side of it is relief. Relief that you no longer have to overextend to be understood. And now hear this carefully. The truth coming to you will not isolate you forever. It will refine your connections. Some bonds will strengthen because they were built on honesty. Others will fade because they depended on imbalance. This is not punishment. This is alignment. Archangel Uriel shows a vision of light reorganizing a structure. He says your life is being rearranged in subtle ways. Small changes in routine, perspective, or priorities are not random. They are adjustments making space for something more honest to enter. Do not resist these shifts. Flow with them. Then Archangel Jophiel reminds you of something essential. Do not let seriousness steal your joy. Truth is meant to free you, not make you heavy. Laugh when you can. Breathe deeply. Beauty and wisdom coexist. You are allowed to feel light even while becoming aware. Archangel Zachiel speaks last, with mercy wrapped in strength. He says forgiveness may come later, not now. And that is okay. Forgiveness is not denial. It is release. Release will come when your heart feels safe again. Be patient with yourself. The 7 archangels now circle one message around your spirit. You are no longer required to explain what you have outgrown. This is where your authority begins. You will notice that when you stop explaining, things resolve faster. When you stop justifying, clarity increases. When you stop chasing closure, truth meets you halfway. Pay attention to how your energy feels around different people in the coming days. Your body will tell you what your mind once ignored. Trust that wisdom. It was trained through experience. And now, before this moment passes, receive this activation. Type "I receive the truth" in the comments if this message is aligning with your spirit. Blessing code 741 has just been released over your discernment, clarity, and peace. This is the moment where light either stops here or continues flowing. I feel led to speak directly to you. When you support this work, you are not supporting a channel. You are sowing truth into hearts that are still walking in confusion. The word says that when seed is planted in good soil, it multiplies beyond sight, and God is saying this seed carries light for many. If this message unlocked clarity for you, your act of giving becomes a prophetic response, not a donation. Open heavens follow obedience, not hesitation. Those who give in this moment will feel peace replace pressure. Release your seed now through Super Thanks, membership, or PayPal. The links are waiting in the description. Do it now. Beloved soul, after truth settles, there is always a quiet phase where reality begins to rearrange itself around your new awareness. This is where you are now. The archangels say this stage often feels subtle, even confusing, because nothing dramatic seems to be happening on the surface. Yet beneath that stillness, deep alignment is taking place. Think of it as roots growing underground before anything becomes visible above the soil. Archangel Michael returns with a calm reassurance. He says you may notice your reactions changing first. Situations that once triggered overthinking now pass without stealing your peace. Comments that once unsettled you no longer carry the same weight. This is not emotional numbness. This is authority. When truth enters fully, it stabilizes the inner world before it changes the outer one. There is something important unfolding around your sense of timing. You are beginning to realize that delays were not denials. The archangels explain that many outcomes in your life arrived late because they needed to arrive whole. Partial blessings would have confused you. Incomplete answers would have reopened wounds. Heaven waited until conditions align not just around you, but within you. Archangel Gabriel highlights a shift in how you listen. You are no longer absorbing words at face value. You are hearing tone, intention, and energy behind them. This may make certain conversations feel hollow or repetitive. Do not feel guilty for disengaging. Discernment naturally reduces tolerance for surface-level exchanges. You are not becoming distant, you are becoming precise. You may also feel an urge to clean, organize, or simplify aspects of your life. This is not random. The archangels say clarity seeks order. Physical spaces often reflect spiritual readiness. As you release clutter, you create room for clarity to settle more deeply. Even small acts of order send a signal that you are ready for the next phase. Archangel Raphael focuses now on your self-talk. He says, be mindful of how you speak to yourself during this time. Old habits of self-blame may try to resurface, especially when you revisit past choices with new understanding. Remember this: you acted with the awareness you had then. Wisdom does not shame the past. It honors the journey that created it. There is a gentle but firm instruction being given. Do not overshare what you are realizing. Not everyone needs access to your internal process. Some truths are meant to mature in silence before they are spoken aloud. The archangels remind you that protection sometimes looks like privacy. Sacred things are not always announced. Archangel Uriel brings insight into upcoming decisions. He says choices that once felt complicated will soon feel obvious. When clarity arrives, it removes unnecessary options. This may surprise you. You may wonder why something that once consumed your thoughts now feels easy to release. This is the mind aligning with the spirit. A subtle test may appear during this phase. Someone or something from the past might resurface, not to return permanently, but to see if you have truly changed. This is not temptation. It is confirmation. How you respond will show you how far you have come. The archangels assure you that you do not need to perform or prove anything. Your calm response will be enough. Archangel Jophiel speaks about beauty returning to your perception. Colors may feel brighter. Music may touch you more deeply. Moments of quiet joy may appear unexpectedly. This is a sign that heaviness is lifting. Truth clears space for appreciation. When the soul is no longer carrying confusion, it has room to notice grace. Archangel Zadkiel reminds you of mercy again, but this time directed inward. He says, release the expectation that you must have everything figured out immediately. Growth unfolds in stages. Awareness does not demand perfection. It invites patience. You are allowed to be learning and enlightened at the same time. The archangels collectively emphasize one truth now. Your future will not require you to shrink to maintain peace. Peace will expand to meet who you are becoming. This is a significant shift from how you lived before. You are no longer negotiating your worth through silence or compromise. As days pass, you may notice a new steadiness in your decisions. You will say no without guilt and yes without hesitation. You will recognize alignment not through excitement, but through calm certainty. This is the mark of grounded truth. Stay attentive but relaxed. Nothing needs to be forced. Nothing needs to be chased. What is aligning with you now will arrive naturally, without confusion or mixed signals. The archangels are walking ahead of you, clearing paths you have not yet seen. The stage is quiet, but it is powerful. And soon, very soon, the internal shifts you feel will begin to reflect outward in ways that confirm everything you are sensing now. Beloved one, there is a moment after awareness settles when the soul begins to test its new balance. This is where you are now. The Archangels say this phase is not dramatic, but it is decisive. It is the point where you stop thinking differently and start living differently. The shift may feel almost invisible at first, yet its impact will echo through everything that follows. Archangel Michael speaks with quiet confidence. He says you are beginning to trust yourself again, and this trust is changing how you move. You are no longer scanning every situation for danger or approval. You are present, grounded. When truth integrates fully, vigilance relaxes. Protection no longer feels like tension. It feels like stability. You may notice that your boundaries are becoming effortless. You are not rehearsing explanations in your mind anymore. You are not justifying why something doesn't feel right. You simply know. And when you act from that knowing, your body responds with peace instead of doubt. The Archangels say this is a clear sign that your inner compass has recalibrated. Archangel Gabriel draws attention to your words. He says the way you speak is shifting subtly. You are more concise, more intentional, less willing to fill silence just to be polite. Silence no longer feels awkward to you. It feels informative. In that silence, truth has room to breathe. Others may notice this change and project meaning onto it. Let them. You do not need to correct their interpretations. There is a deeper lesson unfolding now. Not everyone will celebrate your clarity. Some people were comfortable when you questioned yourself. Your certainty may unsettle them. This does not mean you are doing something wrong. It means dynamics are adjusting to a new balance. The Archangels remind you that growth often redefines relationships without a single conversation needing to happen. Archangel Raphael focuses on your nervous system. He says your body is learning what safety feels like without hypervigilance. This is why rest may feel different now. You may sleep more deeply or wake with a sense of calm curiosity instead of urgency. Allow this. Healing often looks like quiet normalcy after long periods of strain. You might also experience moments of unexpected gratitude. Gratitude for lessons you once resented. Gratitude for endings that felt painful at the time. This does not mean you are romanticizing the past. It means you are extracting wisdom without reliving the hurt. The Archangels say this is emotional maturity anchoring itself. Archangel Uriel brings clarity about future vision. He says you are no longer imagining your future as an escape from your present. Instead, you are shaping it as an extension of your truth. This is a profound change. When the future is no longer a rescue fantasy, it becomes a conscious creation. You will start making choices that support long-term peace rather than short-term relief. There is an invitation here, though it may not feel like one. You are being asked to honor your own rhythm, to stop rushing clarity, to stop measuring progress by external milestones. Your journey now moves inward-outward, not the other way around. The Archangels say this rhythm protects you from repeating old cycles in new forms. Archangel Jophiel encourages you to reconnect with what brings you simple joy. Not distractions, but nourishment. Creativity, nature, meaningful conversation, or moments of stillness. These are not luxuries. They are alignment tools. When joy is present, truth integrates more gently. You may feel less compelled to convince others of your perspective. This is important. When truth is secure, it does not argue. It does not seek applause. It simply exists. The Archangels say this quiet confidence will draw the right people toward you without effort. Those who resonate will recognize it. Those who do not were never meant to walk with you into the next phase. Archangel Zadkiel speaks of release once more, but now with finality. He says certain emotional loops are closing. Old questions no longer need answers. Old scenarios no longer need revisiting. Closure is happening internally, which is the only closure that truly lasts. External validation becomes optional when inner resolution is complete. The collective voice of the Archangels carries a steady assurance now. You are no longer preparing for change. You are living inside it. The ground beneath you is stable because it is built on truth, not hope alone. This stability will become noticeable to others, even if they cannot name why they feel different around you. As you move through the coming days, keep choosing presence over prediction. Stay rooted in what is real, not what might be. The Archangels are not rushing you because there is no urgency born from fear anymore. What is coming toward you is aligned, not delayed. This phase is about embodiment. Truth is no longer something you understand. It is something you carry. And as you carry it, your life will begin to reflect it naturally, without effort, without force, and without needing to announce that anything has changed. Beloved soul, you have entered a phase where your inner alignment begins to influence outcomes more visibly. The Archangels say this is when truth stops being quiet and starts shaping reality. You may not announce changes, but circumstances will respond to you differently. Doors will open with less resistance. Confusion will dissolve faster. And situations that once lingered without resolution will suddenly find their natural conclusion. Archangel Michael speaks with assurance. He says your presence now carries a firmness that cannot be ignored. Not force, not dominance, but ground in certainty. When you walk into a room, you no longer need to prepare defenses. Your clarity speaks before your words do. This is why interactions may feel shorter, more direct, and more honest. Truth simplifies life. You might notice people responding to you in new ways. Some may seek your opinion more often. Others may become unusually quiet around you. This is not something you need to manage. The Archangels explain that when inner authority is restored, external dynamics recalibrate on their own. Those aligned with honesty lean in. Those dependent on confusion step back. Archangel Gabriel highlights timing again. He says events will now align faster because hesitation has left your decision-making process. You are no longer split between intuition and doubt. When a choice presents itself, you will feel a clear inner yes or no. Trust that signal. Overthinking will only delay what clarity has already decided. There is a subtle lesson here. Not every opportunity that appears is meant to be accepted, even if it looks appealing. The Archangels remind you that alignment matters more than appearance. Some offers test whether you will return to old patterns of pleasing or proving. You are not meant to do that anymore. Choose what feels steady, not what feels urgent. Archangel Raphael draws attention to your emotional responses. He says you may feel less reactive but more sensitive. This is not contradiction. Sensitivity without reactivity is wisdom. You can feel deeply without being pulled off center. This allows you to respond thoughtfully instead of defensively. You may also notice a new relationship with silence. Silence is no longer something to fill. It becomes a space where insight arrives. In quiet moments, realizations will surface naturally, without effort. The Archangels say honor these pauses. They are where guidance settles. Archangel Uriel speaks of discernment in action. He says your ability to notice inconsistencies will sharpen. You will catch subtle misalignments quickly, not with suspicion, but with clarity. When something does not match, you will not argue with yourself about it. You will simply adjust your distance. This is a powerful form of self-respect. As this phase unfolds, your role as a quiet example becomes important. Others may watch how you move through situations without drama, without explanation, without emotional exhaustion. Your calm will become a reference point. Not everyone will say it, but some will feel inspired to seek their own clarity because of you. Archangel Jophiel reminds you not to mistake calm for stagnation. Even when things feel steady, progress is happening. Growth does not always announce itself with intensity. Sometimes it arrives as consistency, as peace that lasts longer than excitement ever did. Here is also an invitation to participate actively in this moment. If this message is strengthening your awareness, let that agreement be known. When you like this video, you anchor the energy of clarity. When you comment, you declare alignment. When you share it, you become a messenger of truth for someone who may still be searching for answers. And when you subscribe and stay connected, you choose to walk alongside messages meant to sharpen discernment and restore inner authority. The Archangels say momentum matters now. Collective agreement amplifies individual clarity. Your engagement is not casual, it is participatory. You are not just listening, you are aligning. Archangel Jophiel speaks with compassion. He says if old doubts try to resurface, do not fight them aggressively. Simply notice them and return to what feels true now. Doubt loses power when it is not fed attention. You are not required to revisit every old question to move forward. As the days continue, you may sense anticipation building. Not anxious anticipation, but quiet expectation. This is the feeling of alignment, recognizing what is approaching. The Archangels assure you that what comes next will not require you to abandon your peace to receive it. Peace is the qualification now. Before you move on from this moment, pause. Hold on, because what unfolds next will connect your inner transformation to a very real external shift. When that connection becomes clear, you will understand why everything had to happen in this exact order, and you will be glad you stayed present long enough to see it. Beloved one, what you are stepping into now is the visible confirmation of everything that has been happening quietly within you. The Archangels say this is the phase where alignment begins to show results, not all at once, but unmistakably. You may not even recognize it immediately, because the changes arrive gently, without spectacle. Yet once you notice them, you will realize there is no turning back to the old way of being. Archangel Michael speaks with calm certainty. He says the strength you carry now is not reactive strength. It is anchored strength. This means that when challenges arise, they no longer shake your identity. They become information, not threats. You will notice that your first instinct is no longer fear or defense, but assessment. This shift alone changes outcomes more than effort ever could. Something important is happening with your sense of self-worth. You are no longer measuring it through productivity, approval, or endurance. Worth is becoming a constant, not something that fluctuates based on circumstances. The Archangels explain that when worth stabilizes internally, external validation loses its grip. This is why praise may feel pleasant but no longer necessary, and criticism may register but not linger. Archangel Gabriel highlights how truth is now influencing your expectations. You are no longer hoping people will change to meet you. You are observing who already aligns and adjusting accordingly. This saves enormous emotional energy. You will notice how much lighter life feels when you stop waiting for potential and start responding to reality. There may be moments of quiet surprise. You may catch yourself responding differently than you would have before, more calmly, more directly, or not at all. These moments are important. They are evidence that integration is complete. Awareness has moved from the mind into behavior. The Archangels say this is when transformation becomes permanent. Archangel Raphael brings attention to compassion, now balanced by wisdom. He says you are still kind, but no longer self-sacrificing. You can care without caring. You can listen without absorbing. This balance protects your energy while keeping your heart open. It is a rare and powerful state. You may also experience a sense of detachment from old narratives. Stories you used to repeat about why things happened a certain way may no longer feel relevant. Not because they were false, but because they no longer define you. The archangels say identity is shifting from what happened to me to who I am becoming. This is a profound reorientation. Archangel Uriel speaks of clarity in motion. He says opportunities aligned with your truth will feel steady, not rushed. They will not pressure you to decide immediately or compromise your values. Misaligned paths will reveal themselves through urgency, confusion, or emotional pull. Trust these signals. They are now reliable. There is also a deeper peace settling into your body. Your breathing may feel slower, your shoulders less tense. Even in busy moments, there is a sense of inner space. The archangels explain that when the nervous system recognizes safety, it stops scanning for danger. This allows creativity, insight, and presence to flourish naturally. You might notice that your tolerance for chaos has decreased. Loud conflict, unnecessary drama, or emotional manipulation may feel exhausting rather than engaging. This is not avoidance. It is discernment. Your energy is becoming more refined, and refinement naturally resists distortion. Choose environments that honor this shift. Archangel Jophiel reminds you to appreciate this stage without rushing ahead. Many people move through transformation so quickly that they miss the beauty of stability. Stability is not boring. It is spacious. It allows you to enjoy moments without waiting for the next crisis or breakthrough. Let yourself enjoy calm without guilt. There may be one final inner test during this phase. An old pattern may attempt to reassert itself, not strongly, but subtly. Perhaps a familiar doubt, a familiar temptation to over-explain, or a familiar urge to take responsibility for something that is not yours. The archangels say this is not a setback. It is a checkpoint. Your response will confirm that the cycle has truly ended. Archangel Ezekiel speaks with reassurance. He says mercy is now flowing toward you from unexpected directions. Situations that once felt rigid may soften. People who once resisted may become neutral. This is not because you tried harder, but because your energy no longer feeds conflict. Peace disarms resistance quietly. As this phase settles, your intuition will feel less dramatic and more practical. Guidance will come as simple knowing rather than intense emotion. This is maturity of spirit. You are no longer learning how to hear truth. You are learning how to live with it. The archangels offer this final assurance for now. You are standing in the outcome of choices you made internally long before the world noticed. What unfolds next will feel natural, not shocking. And when it arrives, you will recognize it not by excitement alone, but by the deep sense of rightness that accompanies it. Remain present. The path ahead is no longer hidden. It is simply unfolding at the pace of wisdom, and you are fully equipped to walk it. Beloved child, this is the point where the unseen work reaches a turning moment. The archangels say what has been stabilizing inside you is now ready to express itself outwardly. Not as noise, not as announcement, but as unmistakable direction. You may feel a quiet seriousness settling in, not heaviness, but responsibility. Responsibility for your own truth. Responsibility to no longer abandon yourself for comfort, approval, or familiarity. Archangel Michael steps forward with measured authority. He says you are entering a season where choices carry more weight because you are more aware. Ignorance once softened consequences. Awareness sharpens them. This is not meant to scare you. It is meant to empower you. When you know better, you move better. And now, you know. Something subtle but important is happening with your courage. You are no longer gathering courage to face others. You are gathering courage to honor yourself. This is a different kind of bravery. It shows up when you pause instead of reacting, when you walk away instead of explaining, when you choose alignment over being understood. The Archangels say this courage will protect you more than confrontation ever could. Archangel Gabriel reveals that truth is now reorganizing your priorities. Things that once felt urgent may lose their pull. Things you postpone may suddenly feel essential. This shift is not random. It is clarity rearranging your focus. Pay attention to what your energy naturally moves toward. That is where alignment is pulling you. You may notice an increase in discernment around commitments. You will think twice before agreeing to things that drain you. You will sense when an obligation costs more than it gives. This does not make you unreliable. It makes you honest. The Archangels say integrity with your energy is a form of spiritual maturity. Archangel Raphael focuses on emotional boundaries. He says you are learning to feel without fixing, to listen without absorbing, to care without caring. This will change how you show up for others. Some may miss the old version of you who overextended. That is not your responsibility. The version of you that remains is healthier, clearer, and more sustainable. There is a quiet grief that may surface here. Not grief for people, but grief for time. Time spent doubting yourself. Time spent waiting for clarity that you now realize was already within you. Let that grief move through you. It is not regret. It is release. The Archangels say honoring that feeling closes a chapter permanently. Archangel Uriel speaks of illumination with purpose. He says insights will now come with instruction. You will not only see what is true, you will know what to do with that truth. This is a significant shift. Awareness without action can feel heavy. Awareness with direction feels grounding. You may also sense a narrowing of focus. Fewer incas. Fewer distractions. This is not loss. It is refinement. When the path becomes clearer, unnecessary detours lose their appeal. The Archangels assure you that this narrowing is creating momentum, not limitation. Archangel Jophiel reminds you to remain gentle with yourself. Growth does not require harshness. Discipline does not require self-punishment. You are allowed to learn without condemning your past. Wisdom grows best in kindness, not pressure. Archangel Zadkiel brings mercy again, but now it is forward-facing. He says you are being released from cycles that depended on confusion to continue. Once truth is seen, those cycles cannot sustain themselves. This is why certain patterns are ending quietly, without drama. They simply no longer have energy. The collective voice of the Archangels now speaks clearly. What you tolerate no longer defines you. What you choose now does. This is a defining moment. Your choices from here forward will feel cleaner, less conflicted. Even when they are difficult, they will feel honest. Dishonesty will become your anchor. If this message is confirming what your spirit already knows, mark this moment. Type "I walk in clarity" in the comments if you receive this word. Blessing code 889 is now activated over your decisions, boundaries, and discernment. I need to speak to you heart to heart right now. When you support this mission, you are not funding content. You are releasing light into places still trapped in confusion. God says those who sow into truth become carriers of truth. and their harvest follows them openly. If this message sharpened your discernment, your giving becomes an act of obedience, not generosity. There is urgency here, because alignment moments do not wait forever. As you give through Super Thanks, membership, or PayPal in the description, I declare peace over your house and clarity over your path. Let the river flow now. Act on this word. Beloved one, you are now standing in a phase where truth becomes practical. The Archangels say this is where insight turns into lived wisdom. No longer abstract, no longer emotional. It becomes embodied in how you choose, how you respond, and how you allow your life to move forward. This is a quieter phase than the earlier awakenings, but it is one of the most powerful because it is stable. Archangel Michael speaks with steady assurance. He says you are no longer reacting to life. You are responding to it. This difference may seem small, but it changes everything. Reaction is driven by old wounds. Response is guided by present awareness. You are learning to pause without freezing, to act without force. This balance is rare, and it is being anchored in you now. You may notice that certain fears no longer feel convincing. Thoughts that once intimidated you may pass through without leaving a mark. This does not mean fear has disappeared completely. It means fear no longer controls your direction. The Archangels say courage is not the absence of fear. It is clarity that outweighs it. That clarity is now dominant within you. Archangel Gabriel draws attention to your sense of identity. He says you are no longer defining yourself by roles you played to survive. The helper, the peacemaker, the one who adapts. Those roles serve their purpose, but they are no longer your foundation. You are beginning to identify yourself by truth rather than function. This is why some expectations placed on you may quietly fall away. There may be moments where you feel misunderstood. Not deeply hurt, just slightly unseen. This is a natural side effect of growth. When you change internally, others may still relate to an older version of you. The Archangels advise you not to rush to correct this. Understanding will catch up in time. And where it does not, distance will create peace. Archangel Raphael speaks to your emotional rhythm. He says emotions are now flowing instead of pooling. You feel something, you acknowledge it, and then it moves on. This is healing. Lingering emotions once indicated unresolved confusion. Flowing emotions indicate integration. Trust this process. You are not becoming detached. You are becoming regulated. There is also a refinement happening in how you invest energy. You are less likely to overextend for uncertain outcomes. You are more inclined to conserve energy for what feels reciprocal and grounded. The Archangels say this is not selfishness. It is stewardship. Your energy is sacred, and you are learning how to manage it wisely. Archangel Uriel brings insight into decision-making. He says you will increasingly choose what is simple over what is impressive. Complexity once felt like depth. Now clarity feels deeper. You will favor conversations that are honest over those that are stimulating but empty. This shift will naturally streamline your life. You may notice an inner confidence that does not announce itself. It does not need validation. It does not seek reassurance. It simply exists. This confidence allows you to walk away from things that do not align without resentment. It allows you to stay present without clinging. The Archangels say this is the confidence of someone who trusts their inner compass. Archangel Jophiel reminds you to stay connected to beauty during this phase. Beauty grounds wisdom. It reminds you that truth is not meant to be heavy. Moments of laughter, creativity, or simple pleasure are not distractions. They are confirmations that your nervous system is safe enough to enjoy life again. There may be a subtle invitation arising now, an invitation to step into something new, not because you are escaping something old, but because you are ready. This readiness will not feel rushed. It will feel calm and deliberate. The Archangels say when readiness is genuine, it does not beg for certainty. It moves with quiet trust. Archangel Zadkiel speaks of forgiveness in a new way. He says forgiveness may arrive without effort now, not because others apologized, but because holding resentment no longer serves your clarity. Forgiveness becomes less about others and more about preserving your inner peace. This does not reopen doors. It simply closes loops. As this phase unfolds, you may realize how much noise has fallen away. Mental noise, emotional noise, external opinions. What remains is a steady sense of direction. You may not know every step ahead, but you know how to recognize the right one when it appears. That is enough. The Archangels offer this reassurance. You are no longer waiting for truth to arrive. You are living from it. And because of that, the future no longer feels like a question mark. It feels like an unfolding path that responds to your presence with cooperation instead of resistance. Stay grounded. What comes next will build upon this stability, not disrupt it. And as it unfolds, you will recognize that the peace you feel now is not the end of the journey. It was the foundation for everything that follows. My beloved one, this is the stage where clarity becomes momentum. The Archangels say you are no longer standing still with understanding. You are moving forward with intention. Movement does not mean rushing. It means alignment has matured enough to carry action without friction. You may notice that decisions feel easier now, not because life is simpler, but because you are clear. Archangel Michael speaks with grounded resolve. He says you are stepping into a season where your choices carry authority. Not authority over others, but authority over your own direction. This is why hesitation is fading. You are no longer waiting for perfect certainty. You are trusting sufficient clarity. And that trust is enough to move mountains quietly. Something subtle is shifting in how you experience resistance. Obstacles that once felt personal now feel informational. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" you ask, "What is this showing me?" This change in perspective keeps your energy clean. The Archangels say when resistance stops being personal, it loses the power to exhaust you. Archangel Gabriel draws attention to alignment in communication. He says you will notice conversations becoming more efficient. Less explaining, less backtracking. You are expressing yourself from truth, not from the need to be understood. This will shorten discussions and clarify evasions. Where clarity is present, confusion cannot survive. You may also notice a stronger sense of self-trust emerging. You are no longer second-guessing your instincts after the fact. When you feel guided to act or not act, you honor it. This self-trust creates inner cohesion. The Archangels say cohesion is the bridge between awareness and manifestation. Archangel Raphael focuses on emotional stamina. He says you have more capacity now, not because you are pushing harder, but because you are leaking less energy. Emotional leaks come from overthinking, over-explaining, and overextending. As these patterns dissolve, strength returns naturally. You are not becoming tougher. You are becoming more efficient. There is a noticeable refinement in your priorities. You are choosing what supports your peace, even if it looks modest. You are less impressed by noise and more drawn to consistency. The Archangels say this is wisdom choosing sustainability over intensity. What lasts will now matter more to you than what dazzles. Archangel Uriel brings insight into timing once again. He says the pace you are moving at now is intentional. It allows you to integrate lessons without repeating them. Fast movement without integration creates cycles. Steady movement with awareness creates progress. Trust this rhythm. You may feel a growing sense of responsibility for your own joy. Not a burden, but a choice. You are no longer outsourcing fulfillment to circumstances or people. You are creating conditions where joy can exist regardless of external approval. The Archangels say the shift is crucial. When joy is internal, life responds differently. Archangel Jophiel reminds you to keep your heart open while your boundaries stay firm. Openness without boundaries leads to depletion. Boundaries without openness lead to isolation. You are learning to hold both. This balance will shape your relationships moving forward. There is also a call to participate actively in this alignment. If this message resonates with you, let it echo through action. Like this video as an agreement with clarity. Comment to anchor your intention. Share it with someone who may be standing at the edge of understanding. Subscribe to stay connected to Messy is meant to strengthen discernment. Join the membership if you feel called to go deeper into this journey. These actions are not about a platform. They are about staying aligned with truth. The Archangels say engagement amplifies awareness. When you align publicly with clarity, it reinforces it privately. Momentum grows when intention is expressed, not hidden. Archangel Zadkiel offers reassurance for lingering doubts. He says moments of uncertainty may still arise, but they will no longer derail you. You will recognize them as passing thoughts, not commands. This is mastery. Thoughts visit, but they do not rule. As you move forward, you may sense anticipation again, but this time it is calm. Not the restless anticipation of waiting, but the steady anticipation of readiness. The Archangels say this feeling is accurate. Something aligned is approaching, and it will meet you where you are, not where you used to be. Before you move on, pause here for a moment. Keep watching, because what unfolds next will reveal how this internal momentum turns into a visible shift that others will finally notice. When that moment comes, you will understand why patience was required, and why staying present made all the difference. Beloved soul, you are now approaching the stage where internal alignment begins to echo outward in undeniable ways. The Archangels say this is the phase many people sense but few fully recognize while it is happening. It is when life starts responding to you differently, not because you demanded change, but because your inner posture has shifted so completely that reality must adjust. Archangel Michael speaks with calm authority. He says your energy no longer seeks permission. This does not mean you are forceful or dismissive. It means you are settled. When you are settled within yourself, the world feels that stability and responds with either cooperation or distance. Both outcomes serve you now. You may begin to notice that situations resolve themselves without your involvement. Conversations you thought you needed to have may never happen, yet clarity still arrives. Tensions that once required effort may dissolve through silence alone. The Archangels explain that when you stop feeding confusion with attention, it cannot survive. This is not avoidance. This is discernment choosing peace. Archangel Gabriel draws attention to how truth is now shaping your expectations. You are no longer hoping people will meet you halfway. You are meeting yourself fully and allowing others to meet you where they can. This shift removes disappointment. Expectations soften into observations, and observations bring understanding without emotional cost. There may be moments of deep stillness during this phase. Moments where nothing seems to be happening externally. Do not mistake this for stagnation. Stillness is integration. The Archangels say this pause allows your nervous system to anchor the changes you have made. Without this anchoring, growth would feel unstable. Let stillness do its work. Archangel Raphael focuses on emotional clarity. He says you are becoming skilled at naming what you feel without being overwhelmed by it. You no longer drown in emotions, you navigate them. This skill allows you to remain present even when things are uncertain. Emotional literacy is becoming one of your greatest strengths. You may also notice a reduction in internal dialogue. The constant questioning, replaying, and analyzing may quiet down significantly. This does not mean you are disengaged. It means your mind trusts your awareness. When the mind trusts the spirit, it stops interrupting. The archangels say this quiet is a sign of inner cooperation. Archangel Uriel brings insight into perspective. He says you are now able to see situations from above rather than from within them. You see patterns instead of problems. You see movement instead of blockage. This elevated perspective allows you to respond with wisdom rather than urgency. There is a subtle but important emotional release happening now. You may realize you no longer feel responsible for fixing others' discomfort. This is not coldness. It is maturity. Each soul must face its own truth in its own time. You honoring yours does not obligate you to carry anyone else's process. Archangel Jophiel reminds you to remain connected to joy, even as seriousness deepens. Wisdom does not eliminate lightness. In fact, true wisdom protects it. You are allowed to enjoy peace without waiting for something to go wrong. This allowance is part of your healing. You might sense that your future feels closer, not in time, but in clarity. You are no longer imagining endless possibilities. You are recognizing specific directions. This narrowing is not limitation. It is focus. The archangels say focus is what allows truth to become form. There may be one last emotional echo from the past that surfaces briefly, not to reopen wounds, but to confirm closure. When it appears, notice how differently you respond now, without panic, without urgency, without self-blame. This response is your confirmation that the cycle has ended. Archangel Jophiel speaks with quiet compassion. He says grace is now operating in your life in subtle ways. Missed conflicts, softened outcomes, gentle redirections. Grace does not always announce itself. Often, it shows up as what did not happen. Pay attention to that. As this phase completes, you may feel a deep sense of readiness without knowing exactly what you are ready for. This feeling is accurate. Readiness does not require full visibility. It requires alignment, and alignment is now your foundation. The archangels offer this reassurance as you stand here. You are no longer becoming who you are meant to be. You are arriving. The final unfolding will not feel dramatic, it will feel right. And when it comes, you will recognize it not by shock, but by the quiet certainty that this is where you were always meant to stand. Remain present. What follows will seal everything you have learned into a lived reality, and you will step into it not as someone searching for truth, but as someone carrying it forward with grace and clarity. My beloved child, this is the closing of a sacred sequence, not an ending but a sealing. The archangels say you have reached the point where truth no longer arrives as revelation. It lives within you as direction. What once needed confirmation now moves through you as certainty. You are not asking anymore. You are recognizing. And recognition changes everything. Archangel Michael stands with quiet finality. He says the cycle that began with confusion has completed its purpose. You are no longer required to revisit what hurt you to understand it. Understanding has already arrived. The strength you carry now is calm, unwavering, and deeply rooted. This is not the strength of resistance. This is the strength of arrival. You may notice that your life feels simpler, even if circumstances have not dramatically changed. Simplicity is the sign. When truth integrates fully, it removes unnecessary complexity. You no longer entertain thoughts that drain you. You no longer chase clarity from places that thrive on ambiguity. Your mind rests more easily because it trusts your spirit completely. Archangel Gabriel speaks with resonance. He says your voice now carries alignment, even when you say very little. When you do speak, your words land differently. Not louder but clear. You will find that explanations shorten, boundaries hold, and misunderstandings reduce. Truth organizes communication naturally. There is a deep peace forming around your identity. You are no longer defined by what you endured, what you lost, or what you waited for. You are defined by what you chose to become aware of. This shift frees you from repeating your story. The Archangels say you are stepping into a season where you live forward, not backward. Archangel Raphael focuses on the heart. He says emotional closure has completed its work. You may still remember, but memory no longer carries weight. This is healing at its purest. The past can be acknowledged without influencing the present. Your heart is no longer guarded, it is regulated, and that makes it strong. Archangel Uriel reveals that the truth you received was not only for you. Your embodiment of clarity will affect others without instruction. People may feel safer around you. Some may feel challenged. Both are signs of light. You are becoming a quiet reference point for authenticity. Not by teaching, but by being. You may sense a new rhythm in your days. Less urgency, more intention. Time feels fuller, not faster. This is alignment changing how you experience life itself. The Archangels say when the soul is aligned, time becomes cooperative instead of demanding. Archangel Jophiel reminds you to honor joy without suspicion. You no longer need to wait for the other shoe to drop. Peace is not temporary when it is built on truth. Allow yourself to enjoy stability. It is not laziness. It is the reward of awareness. There is one final truth the Archangels want you to carry forward. You are not behind. You never were. Timing protected you. Delays refined you. Silence strengthened you. And truth arrived exactly when you were ready to live it, not just understand it. Archangel Zadkiel speaks last, with grace sealing grace. He says mercy now flows easily through your life because resistance has ended. You are no longer fighting reality. You are cooperating with it. This cooperation will open doors gently, without force or struggle. The 7 Archangels speak as one for the final time. You were meant to see this. And now that you have seen, you will never return to who you were. Before you move forward, mark this moment. Type I am aligned in the comments if you receive this confirmation. Blessing code 1440 is now released over your future, your peace, and your discernment. This is where the light must continue moving. I am speaking to you directly now. When you support this mission, you are answering a divine call to carry truth beyond yourself. God is saying that those who sow into this work are opening channels where light reaches souls still in darkness. This is not about generosity, it is about obedience in a sacred moment. Your support becomes a prophetic act that releases peace, provision, and clarity back into your life. Give now through Super Thanks, membership, or PayPal. The links are in the description. Do it without delay. Let your seed speak.